What's up YouTube and welcome to my channel. My name is Corin and I am the owner of MinimalistHQ on Etsy. So today I really wanted to talk a little bit about what I've learned so far from opening an Etsy shop. And if this is something that you're thinking about doing, then you've clicked on the right video. So just a little bit of a background, I opened my Etsy shop back in September of 2021. So it's been about 5 or 6 months since then. I've learned quite a few things along the way, and the reason I even opened this shop to begin with was because I wasn't happy with my 9-to-5. It wasn't fulfilling me. I knew that I needed something that was more creative, that gave me more flexibility, and also it just made sense to be on Etsy because I didn't have an audience to sell to. So it didn't make sense for me, at least right now, it doesn't make sense for me to go on Shopify and create my own website. But eventually that is something that I would like to do, but as of now where my business is, it's better off on Etsy. So the first thing that I learned from opening an Etsy shop, and this is something that I learned early on in the process, is that it's an overwhelming experience, and at least it was for me when I started in September. So my solution to all of this was actually finding a good program that I could follow. And this was after I decided what kind of business I wanted and after I decided what kind of products I wanted to bring into Etsy. So finding that program allowed me to do 3 things. 1, it allowed me to learn how to do things on Etsy in a step-by-step organized manner. 2, it allowed me to do things much faster because then somebody's feeding me the knowledge that I needed instead of me having to search for all of these things. And 3, it was a good solid foundation for me to branch off of eventually. So now I'm actually just looking for things on my own, but I'm not doing it like a headless chicken because then I know what kind of knowledge I need to take in, if that makes sense. So if this is something that you're worried about, that it's such an overwhelming experience even to just think about, then maybe finding a program is also going to be beneficial for you. The next thing that I learned from opening an Etsy shop is that it requires a lot of work. And this is something that I kind of knew going into it, but it didn't register in my head how much work actually goes into it, because you see a lot of successful shops on TikTok, on Instagram, any other social media platform, and they make it look so easy. They make everything look so aesthetic that you don't really realize how much work goes into putting up just one listing for one product. So if you're thinking about opening an Etsy shop, just don't underestimate the work that goes into it. The next thing that I learned from opening my Etsy shop is that you're going to be constantly learning. I like to compare this to maybe your first year or so of a new job where you're kind of figuring things out as they come. You're learning to do new things that you never had to do before. So don't be afraid or even surprised that you're going to be pivoting in terms of your strategy based on something that you learned off of TikTok or YouTube, or maybe you're going to be changing your products based on the response you're getting from your audience. It comes with it, so just learn to love learning. The 4th thing that I learned from opening up my Etsy shop is that it requires self-discipline and motivation. I think I learned this the hard way. 3 months into my business, I had 0 sales, so I felt like I didn't need to do anything because I had nothing to do, when I could have done other things to improve my business, like maybe research SEO, research keywords, titles, changed up my product photography. So there's a lot of things that you could do every day for your business to move it forward. And looking back on it, I feel like I wasted those 3 months just doing nothing. So make sure when you're opening up an Etsy shop, you do know that you have to set your own schedule, because this is not a regular 9-to-5 where a manager is going to be looking over your shoulder and making sure you're doing the work. You have to be that person. And the 5th thing that I learned from opening up my Etsy shop is that it turned my hobby into my source of income, which meant that it took away that feeling of escaping my 9-to-5. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that you have to keep in mind or you have to think about, because it can remove the feelings of pleasure from doing these things. So if you do turn your hobby or your side hustle into your main hustle, then make sure that you're doing your proper self-care, you're managing your schedule, you're not allowing it to take over your whole life, because then you'll just burn out. And that's it. Those are 5 things I learned in the past 5 months from opening up my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.